I speak about skateboarding all the time, and I really love skateboarding, not just as creative meditation. I also like it for the mere fact that it's very humbling. So every skateboarder falls. It's a normal part of skateboarding to fall. So if I'm going from A to B, I might hit a rock, might hit a crack, I might some unforeseen circumstance. More or less, when you're skateboarding, you're always prepared to fall. So obviously, you learn to fall, you get better at falling. So you learn to roll out of your falls so that you don't land on your arm, or so you get better and better at falling in both directions. And so falling is a big part of skateboarding, but falling is a big part of life. So when we skateboarders, often I speak to my friends about all kinds of other life issues, jobs, love, romance, whatever it may be. And skateboarders are pretty they look fear straight in the eye and they face their fears. Sometimes it's not as easy to apply the same logic to real life. So sometimes I speak to people and they want to change their career, they want something to change, they want a different relationship. And they're afraid to change the status quo. So they're afraid of change. They're afraid of sticking their neck out. They're not all of them, obviously. But commonly, we humans are a little bit afraid of change. We'd like to hold on to things as they are. And sometimes we know that we need this change, but we're afraid to take this step into a new world, into a new life. And this is why I'm speaking about falling, because if you're gonna change your life, it doesn't have to be, okay, I'm doing this perfectly, now I'm doing this perfectly. If you recognize that you want to change something, then just start small and start slowly going in that direction. It's not about winning or failing. It's about the love of what you're doing. So you love what you're doing. I'm obviously not talking about making money or anything. Like, imagine you want to be an artist. And then you just slowly start every day, start drawing a little bit more. You don't have to be the best artist in the world. You don't have to achieve anything. You don't have to have a goal. And you're not going to produce perfect art straight away. It's normal to make a mistake, and then we learn from mistakes. When I used to tutor kids in math, and they made a mistake, they felt ashamed or like they were going to be made fun of, and I would always respond in the complete opposite direction, because I go, thank God you made a mistake. Now I can finally teach something because you're too good. So I'd spin it on them. And I'd explain to them, like, look, we know this is a mistake, so now we can find what's wrong. And then from then forward, you're probably never ever going to forget this again. If you get everything perfect all the time, you probably won't remember. The more you struggle, the more you'll remember. So I've got scratches and bruises on my body all the time. I wanted to, I fall pretty much every day. It's a normal part of life. And the falling obviously isn't fun. Like, nobody likes to fall. Nobody likes to be humbled by life. Nobody wants to be on the floor. Nobody wants to be bleeding. That's not what it's about. That's like the negative, that thing that our society commonly focuses on. I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm talking about laying on the floor, feeling your pain, seeing the mistake, being humble enough to look at your own actions, your own whatever you just did. And there's no shame in falling. It's not embarrassing. It's not something to hide. It's not something it's an honor. It's an honor to be humbled by life. It's an honor to be able to learn. And this is how we grow. So people sometimes, I think I did a video on growing, and a lot of people would they would quote Krishnamurti at me, telling me that it's not about growth, it's about total insight, it's about this. Yes. For you to understand this new mind state, the mind state of nothingness, the mind free from any ideas, free from any beliefs, you have instant insight into your own life. And as soon as you have insight into your own life, if you look at your life humbly, honestly, and you look at your ego and the way it's been working in your life, then you have insight into that there's actually two versions of life. There's you, the human being, and you, the human being, plus the ego and the ideas and the beliefs and the structure, the culture, the traditions, the whatever else, all this weight is pulling you down. And this is why the falling also quite often shows you that the idea you've been following was not the right path, or not the right, that this idea wasn't actually true. You were holding on to an idea. So people think falling is a bad thing, people think that, but actually falling is a good thing, because, and in life especially, like, it's not that big of a deal. So I've done a lot of like adventures into all kinds of different directions, and I've failed spectacularly. I've had the great privilege to and great fortune to actually meet quite a few, like, they weren't like famous people, but they were famous within their area of music. So there was a few different people, and they made it themselves. So they didn't have a record label, they didn't have producers, they didn't have parents that told them, like, here, take this money. They just believed in what they were doing, and they just kept hustling and hustling and hustling and hustling. And the most significant thing about every one of their stories, because I always listen to their stories, because it's fascinating, it's amazing what human beings can do by themselves, what they can build. And the most amazing and most fascinating thing about every single one of them is that they failed at spectacularly at least once, twice, or 3 times. So they lost a lot of money first, and like everything went wrong, but they knew they're doing what they love, and they knew that they can learn from their mistakes, and they kept going. And then they had a second loss, you know what I mean? Like, and they kept going, and then all of a sudden they were world famous for what they were doing. So, like, it's, some people, they don't even try stuff just in case they're gonna fail. And all I'm trying to say is, like, look, your life is right here, right now. Life is too short to think about trying stuff. Just try it and fail. There's no such thing as shame, guilt. It's all up in your head. It's the ego, petty little ego that's trying to make you feel bad about falling. Or maybe the people that are around you that like to make fun of you, because the only reason they're making fun of you is because they are petty, and they need you to feel smaller than them. So if they're making fun of you, it's got nothing to do with you. You're trying your best. If it comes from the heart, if you're doing it because you love it, if you're doing it, you know, it doesn't even matter if you're falling. That's why we skaters always laugh at our injuries. And so many of skate, like, pretty much any day you go to a skate park, you'll see some sort of skateboarder with a cast on his arm or some sort of injury that they're still skating with. And that's because we fully accept that if we love skateboarding, if we want to push forward, if we want to, like, push out of our own comfort zone, if you want to challenge our own limits, if you want to see what we can actually do, we need to fall. Like, it's a part of life. We all talk about it, we laugh about it. And there's nothing for me more rewarding to see than if, like it starts off bad, but quite often somebody falls spectacularly and you think, like, oh my God, they're calling the ambulance now. They get up and they're completely focused. They don't talk to anybody. They go back to the place where they started from, and they just regroup and face the fear of this worst case scenario that just happened, and and they're sure of themselves that they can do it anyway. Even though they just took this huge fall, they know that they can do it, and then they make it. And that's the most rewarding thing to watch ever. So, I realized that to me as a skateboarder, it's the most normal thing to fall over with. Like, you don't even have to do hard things to fall over really hard. Like, it's like a normal thing. But I've noticed that many people in real life are very timid and are very afraid to take steps into certain directions. Like, for instance, going to a party by yourself, or going on a date, or anything, quitting your job because you hate it. You know, it means change. It means a step into the unknown. It means stepping out of your comfort zone. And it may be a bad idea. Like, you may be jobless. You may have to sell something or whatever. It doesn't make any difference, because the most important thing is that you get in touch with yourself. You get in touch with what you want, what you need, what you feel, what's right for you as a human being. And you ignore all the outside. Like, you are a female, you need to be a mother, you need to have a career, you need to look a certain way, you need to wear lipstick or whatever. They're all ideas. All I'm trying to tell you is you need to accept yourself for who you actually are. Not what society is telling you what you're supposed to be, not what your parents expect you to be, nothing at all, nothing what you expect yourself to be, because actually you are the worst culprit. So just like let go of all the ideas, just accept them as ideas, not real. They're nothing you can hold, nothing you can prove, nothing that you will ever have any evidence. You are who you are. And the sooner you accept yourself for who you actually are, the sooner you can live with this free mind. And you realize that falling isn't, like, it's not a big deal. There's no shame. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, I always see falling as a step towards progression, because I'd rather see people try something and fall a lot of times than people just sit in their room doing the same thing over and over and over and over. Like, it's a meaningless existence. Like, we're here to try and find out all we can about ourselves, more or less. So I use skateboarding to test my limits physically, and it's also art to me. It's like dancing, it's creative meditation. So just in case you're trying to change your life, change your current status quo, and you already know that you know how you feel, you know what you need, but you're afraid to take this step into change, into a different direction, into something new, then all I can say to you is change is good. First of all, congratulations for being so in touch with yourself that you already feel it. You already know it, and even though all the outside influences or whatever is telling you something else, you feel it. So embrace that feeling and just go with the change. Don't be afraid of the change. Don't imagine what the change will do to your life. Just do what's right for you right now, and then stay present, roll with the punches, roll with what's going to happen, and just keep flowing forward. And please don't be afraid of change. Change is the perfect mode for you to go something new. And keeping restricted in some sort of situation, be it work, relationship, family, house that you live in, whatever. If you're feeling restricted now and you can tell and you can feel it and you need to get out, please get out as soon as possible. It's freedom. Your freedom is the main concern for everybody. Everybody's personal freedom is first the most important thing. As soon as you find personal freedom, then you're free to love whoever, whenever, whatever, and it's very easy to fall. So I'm still learning, I'm still growing. I've had insight, yes, so my mind state will never change. But that doesn't mean that every day I'm still growing. Even when I stay home because I'm in pain and I can't actually get outside, I'm still learning something in some sort of way. Like there's always a growth, and I don't have motivation because that actually relaxes everything more. And then, so now, like say if I had egoic motivation, I'd be working on these videos in a different way, in a more methodical way. But now I'm actually like, when I don't feel well enough, I don't want to do the videos, I don't want to speak, I want to draw or write or do something else. So I disappear, yes, but I'm not trying to, I'm just trying to make myself understood. So I'm trying to come up with different ways that I can try and help you understand exactly the same mind state. It's like, that's all. So if you're afraid of falling, please don't be afraid of falling. Falling, it's society wants to make fun of you for falling, but falling just means that you're actually giving it a go. You're actually having a try. You're trying something new. And it's a normal part of life to fall. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You don't need to drag it on with you. All you need to do is go like, oh, I fell on my face. Why did it happen? And then you humbly look at what happened. And then you're going to learn from it. And like if I make a skateboard trick perfectly, first try without even thinking about it, I'm not really going to learn very much. If I do a trick and I fall on my face and I go, just fell on my face, and then I fall on my face again and again, eventually I'm going to learn a very valuable lesson, and I'm going to be able to do the trick forever, probably. So, and the same with life, like, you know, it was scary for me to do these videos, to start a YouTube channel, and I'm a very shy, private person, so it was, you know, it meant a change for me, but I just knew this is what I had to do, and then I just rolled with what happened. And I think you can tell by the way that I'm doing the videos that it's sort of changing with the way that you're speaking to me, and I hope it'll do that for the rest of, well, my life and whoever continues on afterwards. So thank you very much for listening, and much love. And change is good, man. Like, I know we like to keep to this safe zone, but change is what makes you a stronger, more, you know, more interesting character. It you know, it makes you who you are, and you need to trust yourself above everything else, above me, above Krishnamurti. You need to trust yourself first and trust what's right for you. Nobody else can tell you that. So thank you very much for listening. One love.